In today's video, we will be doing additional load development with my 223 bolt action rifle using the Sierra 69 grain SMK, ADI 1X fired brass, Federal 205M primers, and Varget powder. For a cheap and affordable option, the 69 grain SMK has been a favorite of mine within 223, whether that's a bolt action or within a AR-15 or gas gun platform. It's very easy to tune and has yielded consistent results downrange and on target, easily exceeding half minute. So that's typically what I'm looking for a bolt action. So we'll see what we do with this combination today. Right here with the 223, gonna do some load development. This is with 24.2 grains of Varget, 69 grain SMK, and we're using ADI brass, which those of you that have shot some of the ADI ammunition, if you haven't reloaded, the ADI brass is actually very good. I compare it up there with the quality of SIG brass, not quite with Lapua, but typically tend to get very, very good results using this brass in hand loads. So without any more talking, let's get to it and see how she does. Not fantastic, not terrible. The first round did go a little bit high. I think a lot of that is this barrel wasn't fouled before I shot this ammo. I think the last ammo that I shot through it was actually with the 75 grain EODs. So typically when switching between different bullets and powder combinations, because those are actually loaded with H4895, I tend to see at least a little bit of hesitation before it starts to group, typically 2 to 3 rounds. So that was the low end of the charge. We'll go up in powder charge and see if it settles in, but I wouldn't read anything too much into that first round being high. Okay, so for the 24.2, we have the, let's go back here and get all of it. So 24.2 grains of Varget. We had an average velocity of 28.95, standard deviation of 5.2, and extreme spread of 14.5. Alright, next up is 24.5 grains of Varget, the 69 SMK. Not too bad. Looks like it's starting to group there a little bit. So let's look over chronograph data. So for these, we had an average velocity of 2930, call it 2931, standard deviation of 5.1, extreme spread of 15.3. Next, charge weight, which is going to be 24.7 grains of argot. Drop that one down a little bit, but they're all touching. It still looks to be hopefully a 0.4 MOA group or so, so not too bad there. So looking over the data, average velocity 2960 feet per second, standard deviation of 3.7 feet per second, and extreme spread of 10.9. So very, very happy with those numbers, despite it only being 5 shots. Alright, still allow the barrel to cool for about 5 minutes or so, maybe a little bit longer than that. Have a little bit of heat in it, but I like to make sure that a barrel is going to be shooting whether it's cold or warm, so no real issues there as long as there's not too much mirage. This will be 24.8 grains of varget with the 69 SMKs. This is my typical load within the ADI brass for just going out plinking something nice, soft shooting, cheap and economical for loading to shoot higher volumes. And we'll go for the bottom left target. Not too bad. Decent results downrange. One day I'll figure out which button to hit. Alright, so on this we had average velocity of 2967 feet per second, standard deviation of 8.1, and 20.2 for the extreme spread. So actually not quite as good velocity wise on the extreme spread and standard deviation as I think the two previous, but still somewhat respectable. Typically I'm seeing a standard deviation of 7 feet per second or lower with this load, but didn't quite work out that way today. This will be 25.0 grains of varget. So looks like we're just trying to get out of the node there with that. May have picked up a little bit of velocity as well, but it definitely looks like there's a little bit of a point of impact shift to the right. Nothing, too major, quarter of an inch or so from the centralized group. Let's see what the velocity data looks like. All right, so average velocity 2970 feet per second, or 2969. Extreme spread 25.9, and the standard deviation of 8.9 feet per second. Looking over the results, pretty typical of what I've seen in the past with the 69 grain SMK. Around 24.7, 24.8 grains of Varget seems to be where the load starts to come in. Also had relatively good standard deviations associated with these charge weights. Really would have liked to have seen the 24.7 be a little bit more consistent, but it was quite a windy day, so maybe that's part of it. Certainly, I'll go back out and do some additional testing and see if the 24.7 to 24.8 still holds true as far as being a solid load for this rifle. Thanks everyone for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please list them down below. Till next time.